This is live with Bianca. Just wait for Bianca to join. Hey Bianca. Okay, I'm just adding you on. Four. Says it's adding. We're connecting.
Hey.
And you're here, Bianca.
Hi, how you doing?
Is everything okay? I'm okay, yeah, how are you doing?
Yeah, I'm really good. Thank you. Thanks so much for
Cool. Well,
having me on
thank
here.
you. Yeah, oh, thank you so much for this opportunity. I mean, I've never done this before, so it's quite weird and it's really great to have met you and to have you on to do an interview. And I'm sure people can get a lot of value and stuff. So, yeah, so if I introduce, I just met Bianca through my new company I'm with, and Bianca is a life coach and a laughter yoga leader, sorry, and an author. So it's great to have you here. And yeah, I wonder if you could elaborate on what you do and how you help people in your work, Bianca.
Yeah, sure. There's a few things that I do. So I got into coaching to really help people to come back to their truth of who they are, what they want their life to be about, and really create their lives around that rather than around expectations of other people, rather than what's going to
Yeah,
impress people, look good on paper, make them the most money, blah, 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 blah. Like, what do you
yeah,
actually want in your heart? So, I run an 8 week
sure.
program called Leading from Within that really helps people to tap back into that truth of who they are, what their life's about, and create their goals forward from there. I also work one on one with some people, mostly primarily coaches at this point in time,
Yeah,
really just helping them to start up their businesses, get money coming in the door, get clients organically.
yeah,
And with the laughter stuff, at this point in time, I have a challenge that involves laughter, but I don't have any paid ways to work with me. I have had a one-on-one laughter client, but there's definitely more to come later this year on the laughter front.
okay, right, sure, sure. And you said about in your on your profile, it said about a lot about like tapping into the intuition and unconscious mind. I wonder, like, how does that? Yeah, how does
Yeah,
that kind of work? Because that sounds like a big kind of focus, I guess.
yeah. How does it work? As in, how does the unconscious mind work?
I
Or
guess to me, well, I've just become more interested in intuition recently, and it's quite weird because I feel just from how I see, it, I feel like sure probably agree, like our society operates in this very rational minded way, and I felt more like tapping into intuition. I guess for me, maybe a bit through dreams, and recently a bit through like yeah numerology and stuff, and like I guess just trying to open up that side. That is, I mean, for me personally, it feels like it's quite squashed, and I guess for a lot of people, it's maybe with just society conditioning and whatever, and yeah,
yeah, yeah, and a lot of us are like that through conditioning, as you're saying. Like a lot of us are
yeah,
we're taught in school there's a wrong answer and a right answer. It's yes or no, and in life, really, it's not like that at all. It's
yeah,
more of a creator's game in life. It's like what can I do to make things work? Like, what can I do for work to be able to have the money that I want for the lifestyle that I want to pay my bills, all that kind of thing. It's not a
sure,
like black and white yes or no answer.
mm,
Coming back to the intuitive side of things, I really believe that, yeah, we do switch off to our intuition. From
yeah,
childhood, we've really, really tapped into it. Like you look at children, you look at dogs, you look at animals, they're really tapped in. They just know things. They sense things about people or situations. They know when something's
yeah,
not right. And a lot of us do too deep in our gut, but what happens most of the time is we talk ourselves out of it and we go,
yeah,
and then later we're like, oh, I knew that. Why didn't I listen to my gut? Like, why didn't I listen to my body when it was trying to tell me stuff?
okay,
So tapping people back into their intuition is really tuning them back into their bodies because our
yeah,
intuition doesn't really speak to us in the same way that our mind does. Our rational
mm,
mind talks to us basically in words. It's like, you're
yeah,
stupid. Why did you say that? What are people going to think? All those kinds of things, and which is why
Yeah,
we call it mind chatter. Our
sure.
intuition doesn't really function in that way. It's more subtle. It's more through our emotions and feelings within our body and sensations that we get, that we can really tap back into that. So I teach people also to dive in and really understand what is their intuition, because a lot of people sometimes say, like in the personal development world, for example, people are visualizing. They're visualizing their goals, they're visualizing their dreams. It feels so real, it feels
Right.
so good. But at the end of the day, they write it off as their imagination, which is totally
Right.
fine, because your imagination is a very, very powerful tool.
Yeah.
However, there is often another layer to that where we're actually utilizing our intuition, but people don't understand that they have the power to do that. So they write it off as intuition and just go, oh, I just made that up in my mind. It's not really real, and
Okay.
that
Yeah.
kind of thing. But yeah, when we understand that we can use our intuition to get answers from within ourselves, to better communicate with other people, and to really help us to navigate our way in the world, it makes decision making really easy, because it's like, you know what's right straight away. It's like, it doesn't really matter what your mind's blabbing on about and making up, rationalizing and reasoning and judging and trying to figure things out,
Sure. Yeah.
which people spend their lives doing. People spend decades trying to work stuff out and trying to figure it out and find the way and figure out the how and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
Um,
it definitely seems like the common mindset, doesn't it? This real rationalizing. And I found that on my counselling journey, it just seemed like a bit of a, well, I say that road less traveled, like going down this real intuitive path. It's just not like the normal thing. I mean, I guess for me personally, I almost experienced like with my new business and the personal development work recently on this intuitive, like a lot of actual resistance from outside stuff is quite, yeah, it's quite strange.
yeah, yeah, it's pretty common for a lot of people. And then once you start to get into it, you realize how natural it is, and you're kind of like, why was I so freaking switched off to this? Like, it's just another
Yeah.
function in our body. And yeah, more and more information is coming through about gut health and the brain that's within your gut as well, and the internal knowledge that's coming from that space, that there really is so little that we know about how the body and our energy and all that actually works, and even our minds. Like, science is a really interesting thing. I was saying this to someone the other day, because it's the most current theory is basically modern science. It's like,
Right.
at one stage they thought the world was flat. That was the current theory.
Yeah.
And, they're constantly finding things about anything, about diseases, about medicine, about how the body works, about all these different things in nature. That it's like, oh, actually, we thought it was that way, but now we've discovered that it's actually this.
Yeah. Sure.
So, yeah, it's fascinating how much the rational mind wants to trust science as like a trusted source, rather than just trusting nature instead.
Yeah, yeah, sure. Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, some work I've been doing recently was sort of saying how, I mean, respectable like modern science, often it collapses, what we say, our consciousness into, I guess, just showing a light going on in the brain. Rather, but I guess in a true, I really love a guy called Ken Wilber, and he looks at an overall spiritual and philosophical sense, and he said that's actually a kind of disaster because, yeah, the overall, I guess, science and truth picture is always there's always a consciousness realm going on, which is it's separate from just the light in the brain. It's yeah. I mean, maybe part of this thing, yeah, the intuition and the part that makes us fully human, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's one big package, and that's a lot of the work I do is about incorporating everything. It's not about getting away from our fears or our doubts or our worries or our limitations. It's like that's a natural part of us, and that has a perfectly great function. Like, congrats, you're alive because of that side of you. It keeps you safe, alive, breathing. And it's about understanding that part just as much as you want to understand your highest self and your greatest potential, and all those beautiful things about yourself. It's like,
Sure.
let's also understand the limitations, because once we turn up the volume on them and listen to them instead of running away from them or shoving them down or shutting them off, we can
Yeah.
actually learn a lot from them, and we then are empowered with choice, because we have awareness. awareness brings
Yeah.
choice, and our choices create our reality. So the more awareness we can bring to the fullness of ourselves and start to integrate those parts rather than denying one aspect or another, we can actually live a more full life.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, sure. Okay,
unconscious anxiety that we understand. So sometimes it helps to take that leap of faith and figure it out on your own so that you can make some science for the future. Yes, totally.
okay. So I wonder here, when you say about this tapping inside the breaking through thing, is that like what you when you say about the unconscious? Is that like you were with like I guess overcoming like unconscious blocks kind of thing?
Yeah, yeah. So, like there's kind of two orientations that you could live from if you could go to one extreme or another. So, one, which is where most people, I would say, make 90% of their decisions and live 90% of their life from, is from our unconscious defaults, which are typically, like you said, conditioning, like learned behaviors, learned beliefs, learned like this is right, this is wrong, that's good, that's bad. I can't make $1 million because I grew up in such and such a suburb, or my parents were these people, or
Yeah.
whatever beliefs you got going on. Um, a lot of their core beliefs, or all the core really, really deep rooted beliefs, were created between the ages of 0 and 7 through your
Right. Yeah.
experience of the world. So when we're talking unconscious mind, we're talking about like what's going on underneath the surface, because way back when, maybe you're only 1 month old and something happened in your life. Say you were crying and your parents didn't come and see you, and your mind always wants a reason for stuff. It wants to know why things are happening and what's going on, so that it can orientate you in staying safe and alive. So when you're crying and no one's coming to you, you have to make up a reason. It's like your mind wants to know why.
Yeah.
And how. It's one of its favorites. Um, so it makes a reason like, oh, well, they don't love me. My parents don't love me. They're not coming to see me.
Sure.
Even if you don't, like at 1 month old, you don't necessarily have those concepts like down pat
Yeah.
in the
Yeah.
English language like we do, but you decide something within yourself emotionally and mentally. So then
Yeah.
going
Sure.
down in your life, you have all these different other experiences where you're not chosen on the sports team in primary school, and you repeat the same to yourself, like, oh well, people don't love me, people don't want me, I'm easily rejected, or whatever you tell yourself. And then you get stood up on a date later in life, and we build these beliefs. So, and so much to the point where then we don't even go for the job interview, or we don't even go on the date, because unconsciously we just think that we're going to get rejected. But consciously we
Yeah.
don't even know why. We're just like, oh, I don't want to go, or I can't, or I won't get the job, or whatever. But we're not actually thinking people don't love me anymore. It's just an unconscious thing that's underwriting everything that we're
Yeah.
doing.
Yeah, sure. It's incredible, isn't it, how powerful those things are. I know we read some of these things out in counselling, and I remember reading once how sometimes if a baby is like left alone, I mean, I don't know how this is calculated, but it said it's the significance like the for the baby after they actually think they're going to die. That's the
Yeah,
well, I guess just because of the physiological response, and I guess yeah, that sort of same implant can be like happening later in a relationship, even though we have no idea, yeah, consciously what it is, but it's that same primal feeling that's so strong. So yeah,
yeah, totally. And the other thing that I might just throw in there is like, not all of our unconscious stuff is negative either. You might have patterns playing out where you've grown up believing, that you're beautiful, or you're great, or you're better than so and so, or whatever, like, and they can actually help you. But generally, with any unconscious pattern, it is unconscious. It's happening on default. So we don't really have choice when we're acting from that space. We're almost like a programmed robot. It's like,
yeah, sure.
even if it's benefiting us in a lot of ways, we still don't have that freedom of choice around it, because we're just acting and responding in the way that we always have.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
well, great.
so
So I wonder, Bianca, what's it like for you? I mean, I guess this work is obviously it's so like motivational and really digging in and helping other people so much. What is it for you on like how do you keep yourself feeling like well enough to be able to always keep helping people and digging into all this stuff? You always seem very bright, and I just wonder what how is it for you on a day-to-day basis to keep in such a good this sort of strong mindset around all this?
There's a few things. So one big one is like keeping yourself surrounded by other people who are inspiring you, who are setting the example for you, who are working on themselves and really like, I would never have my Facebook full of people that are complaining and bitching and moaning. Like it's just those people
Yeah.
are gone. Like then they're not followed or they're not friends anymore or whatever it is. Um,
Yeah, sure.
because I just don't need that. And everything affects us at an unconscious level. So even if
Yeah.
it is you scroll past someone's post on Facebook, as using that example, it affects you unconsciously. So being really aware of your influences in your environment, which is something that I focus on in the program that I run as well. Because, yeah, the internal game's important, but we're getting externally influenced all the freaking time as well. Like all the
Sure.
sounds, smells, sights, everything, textures, everything's got a meaning within our mind and is actually affecting the way that we're showing up in the world. So there's that. So people around me, getting out in nature, getting outside is a really important thing for me to feel happy.
Yeah.
There have been days before where I just work inside all day and I don't go outside and I feel really like yucky,
Yeah, sure.
tired, drained, like whatever. So that's a big thing for me. My laughter is a big one. If I'm feeling frustrated, if I'm feeling angry, I know that I have choice in whether I sit in that emotion. And sometimes there's benefit in sitting in it, like I said earlier, like not to just run away from everything and disregard it, actually to understand it, but also to choose the default reaction. So,
Sure.
um, one for me, for example, I travel a lot, and every time I go to the airport, this is one that I'm wanting to work on because every time I go to the airport and I'm at the luggage carousel, if I have luggage, I get really pissed off because I see people pushing to the front when their freaking bag's not there yet. And I'm just like,
Right, right.
why can't you stand back? And it just triggers me every time.
Okay,
And
sure.
it's not a space where I choose to start laughing in the middle of the airport. But things like that, they don't need to affect us in the way that they do. Like I get really, really angry about it
Yeah.
really quickly because it's my default now. I just get
Yeah.
angry. I look at them and I'm like, "You're a fucking idiot. What are you doing? Get out of my way." I can't. No one can see their bags because you're standing there. You got your bloody trolley there. I get really angry, and there's so many things like that in our lives where we have choice. So there's things like that where I know, okay, that's unnecessary. I'm arriving somewhere amazing. I'm going traveling, and then getting angry as soon as I go to get my bags. Like I don't want that. So just being consciously aware of those patterns and shifting those. Yeah, laughter is a really quick and instant way for me. Also do some mindset journaling and stuff like that.
Okay,
Um,
yeah, sure.
and really just staying connected to the vision as well of what I'm doing and why I'm doing it is a big one.
Okay, great. Yeah, I've heard that. People say about you having your why is quite a strong thing, is super important.
Yeah, yep, having your why, and it's kind of like what something you mentioned earlier about the unconscious mind, like you think you're gonna die. It's like if you
Yeah.
can't see what's gonna happen next, that can be a problem in your progress. It can be a reason for lack of motivation and things like that as well. If you don't know, yeah, I guess it comes down to the why as well. But if you can't see past the point of where you are, it's like you might just stay floating around and doing nothing because you can't see any other possibilities. So always
Yeah, sure. So
keeping
I
your
just
eyes open
always
and
being
creating
connected
new
and some.
opportunities.
Okay. Oh,
Mhm.
great. Well, I'm just coming to the end. So thanks so much for your time, Jack. And I wonder for anyone watching who, I know we actually have a view at the moment, so I was going to give a question opportunity. But I wonder for anyone,
Yeah,
how would
that's
anyone
fine.
contact you just to, if anyone wanted to book a session? Or I don't know if we have any viewers who would like to ask a question right now, or if I think we've had people flicking on and off throughout.
Yeah, cool.
So.
I'm not sure if, yeah, someone was on the line for quite a while. I don't know if it's Ryan or Ankush. But yeah,
Oh, okay.
if people have
We have.
questions, they can definitely, yeah, if guys, if you have that now, I have like a couple of minutes before I have to
Yeah.
run. Other than that, yeah, add me on Facebook. I'm tagged in this post. That's probably the easiest way. It's the place where I'm most active. I'm on. Instagram and YouTube and have a website and all those other good things. So if you wanted to look me up and not actually contact me, you can check out my website if you want to do the. I'm going to suss this lady out first thing. It's just biancaspears.com. Other than that, yeah, feel free to send through a message. Say, hey, I saw you on the live feed. Would love to ask a question. I'm always open to answering those. Or pop them in the comments here and tag me in.
Okay, great. Okay, cool. Well, thank you so much, Bianca. It's been a pleasure. And yeah, thanks so much for your time. And yeah, I'll say I've got a personal session with Bianca tomorrow. I'm really looking forward to. And yeah, I look forward to connecting with you more in the future as well.
Yeah, beautiful. Thanks so much for having me on. I'll chat to you tomorrow.
Okay,
Thanks, Phil.
cool. Take care,
Bye,
Bianca.
guys.
Speak soon. Bye bye. Thanks heaps.